Alright, in this comprehensive breakdown, I'm going to be able to debunk 3 gym myths that are stopping you from getting shredded. You probably know this, but with my insight, I'm going to be able to try to give you even more information that you might not know already. Alright, these can be the things that are stopping you from getting lower body fat and achieving that aesthetically pleasing physique that you are going for. Okay? And if you don't know who I am, my name's Eric Trin, and back then when I was on my fitness journey, I started off as a skinny twig and then I bulked up, but I feel like it was a canon event for like anybody who started off like me to get a bit fat, you know? So after that point, I was able to take a cut seriously. Through trial and error, I was able to find out what actually works best. I've made a lot of mistakes in my fitness journey. I don't want you to make that by believing these myths that are obviously not true. Hopefully you have more clarity on what you should be doing and stop doing for you to achieve that aesthetically pleasing physique that you're aiming for. Alright, let's get into it. Before we do though, make sure that you're in a place where you can actively listen, alright? Enclosed, whatever works for you best, with some headphones, with your hoodie on, whatever it may be, because I hope that this information actually breaks you through that wall you are hitting so that you can, move forward. So the first one, myth number 1, cardio is essential for fat loss. And over here, I break down the myth, why it's wrong, and what you should do instead so you actually have actionable steps, okay? The myth is cardio is key for fat loss, but guess what? Cardio definitely helps you with your fat loss, but many people think that you should be adding excessive and very intense cardio, like doing running, sprints, jogs in the morning, long hours of cardio, having to, do these high intensity levels of cardio. But it's not necessary because there's something that's more important above that, which is a calorie deficit. I'm sure you've heard of a calorie deficit, but it doesn't matter how much cardio you're doing if you're not in one, right? You're not going to lose any fat, right? You can do 3 hours a day, but if you're physically not in a calorie deficit, meaning you are eating either at your maintenance calories to stay at the same spot you're in, or above that, you're only going to stay the same or gain even more weight, right? It doesn't matter the cardio, okay? And it's not optimal for you to be doing excessive amounts of cardio anyway, because that in turn comes to muscle loss, right? That's a risk that doing too much cardio, yes, that's possible, can do to your physique, right? You don't want to do that. What you should do instead is balance cardio and strength training. Maintain muscle with strength as a focus. Why? Because strength training will actually allow you to build muscle, and that's what you want. You don't want to, if you enjoy doing extreme cardio, you like runs, you like marathon running and all that, that's fine by me. But personally, I wouldn't do that, and I would want to, look cut and aesthetically pleasing. That's why all these runner physiques kind of look slim. They don't really, like, even skinny fat for some of them, right? Because doing cardio doesn't directly show that you're going to lose fat and build muscle. It's only a supporting pillar. I'll give you the cardio that I'd prefer to do, which is maybe an hour tops, or 30 minutes to an hour of incline walking at a conversational pace. You can actually talk, you're not out of breath. You will feel it, but hey, have it be on a treadmill for incline, maybe 30 minutes. You can do at 3 speed. The incline can be at the max or like around 8, something like that. And that should be good enough. All right, you pair that with 10,000 steps a day tracked by your iPhone, right? With the fitness app where it shows how many steps you have, or whatever app you may need. That's as simple as it gets with cardio. And that's all I needed personally to lose fat and actually get shredded, right? I've tried it all though. I used to run at the track. I used to jump rope. I did multiple methods of cardio, But I felt that the most enjoyable one for me was just a simple walk, hitting 10K steps, and then 30 minutes on the incline treadmill, watching a show or scrolling on TikTok while I'm doing it, right? It's as simple as that. As long as I'm doing that. Quick side note though, if you're doing that on the treadmill, do not hold on to the handlebars. Be free, bro. Just walk, because you're cheating yourself from the actual gains you'll be able to make. Don't focus too much on cardio. Focus more on a calorie deficit, what you're actually eating. Now, myth number 2. You need to eat extremely low calories. This has to do with your calorie deficit, and I'll show you why this is not the right way to do it, okay? The myth is fewer calories means faster fat loss. And this is why it's wrong, okay? It slows metabolism, causes muscle loss, unsustainable and unhealthy. Think about it. Fewer calories does mean that you're gonna lose weight quicker, but that doesn't mean you're gonna be losing actual fat quicker. In certain cases, you might not be getting enough calories for you to properly function, causing a slow metabolism, and also in turn causes, muscle loss, right? You need to be in the calorie deficit that would help you at least hit your protein goal to make sure that you can maintain your muscle. You need to have the proper carbs so that you can have the energy to work out. And lastly, the proper amount of fats for your body type, which you got to figure out in order for you to actually function properly and optimize your gains. Because if you don't have that, you're eating too little calories, it might backfire, right? That's why a few clients of mine sometimes do a refeed week where they eat at their maintenance, and it's just so that their bodies can function again properly, being in a big calorie deficit. I've even heard from a few members that I work with one-on-one that they felt like they were eating more even though they were in a calorie deficit. And that's because they used to starve themselves and they didn't know where the good ratio was. If you don't know already, it's from your maintenance calories, probably 250, 500, that's good enough. Right? If you want faster, maybe I suggest 700 to 800 of that, but that's not ideal. As long as you're losing about 0.5 to 1 pound every week, that will make sure that you're losing fat, losing weight at a proper rate, okay? Moderate calorie deficit and balance your nutrition. If you don't know your nutrition goals already, go into a TDEE calculator and figure that out. Fill it all out. Make sure that your activity levels that it tells you to put it even lower than that, basically sedentary, and it'll give you more accurate results. Usually it's not accurate, but going based off of at least something is better than nothing, So do that and see how it works. All you have to know is that you don't have to fully starve in order for you to do this. You need to choose the right foods that are high volume but low in calories. Okay? Somewhat keto, but not really. Now lastly, the last myth is lifting light weights for high reps to get you shredded, which is probably the worst out of all of them, all right? And this is why. The myth is light weights tones the muscle and burns fat. But guess what, bro? It doesn't matter if you're doing heavy weights or light weights, all of it is the same. The main purpose of training in itself is just to stimulate the muscles. And you can do that with lightweight and a whole bunch of reps to get you to that point, or what I prefer, which is more effective, which is lower reps but heavier weight, okay? Definition needs fat loss, not just reps, right? Light weights don't build muscle. It truly doesn't matter how you train, okay? What builds muscle specifically, in order for you to look shredded, you don't want to look like a smaller version of yourself. That's why you need to build muscle. And how you build muscle is lifting heavier and progressive overloading. What does that mean? That means you're getting stronger at least every week, right? Either increasing in the repetitions that you do with a certain weight or lifting heavier weights. That's what progressive overload is. Slowly increasing the challenge over time. This gives you a direct signal that what you're doing is working and you're building muscle, right? If you're getting stronger, if you're pushing reps, it feels easier with the same weight, you're getting stronger. And if you continue to lift heavier, that's how you build muscle. That's how you can get toned, right? Getting toned only means just losing fat. We've already discussed that that has to do with the calorie deficit. And if you pair that with building muscle, then man, you will get toned. But it doesn't matter if you're doing excessive cardio. It doesn't matter if you're doing light weights with a bunch of reps, right? It doesn't even matter, right? What's more efficient and effective would be lifting heavy, doing lower repetitions to get you to that last few reps where the muscle's actually getting worked. When it's difficult, when it's very slow, that's where you want to aim for. And then pairing that with a slight calorie deficit where you're losing at least a pound a week, that's all you need. That's losing fat, that's building muscle, that's getting shredded. I can't stress how inefficient and long it takes for you to get to that doing lighter weights and doing a whole bunch of cardio. I don't think anybody enjoys doing that. All you feel is the burn, and it's not a good sensation when you're doing lighter weights. And then like cardio that's highly intense, and that being prioritized, it's probably why you can't stick to it, because it's absolutely horrible to want to do. And you can't just be like, I'm a man up, stop being a pussy, and just like lock in. You can't do that, because it's like going into torturing yourself every single day. I mean, I was able to do that for a good amount of time until I realized that there's more optimal ways to do things, you know? So yeah, these are the 3 myths that you need to make sure that you're not doing. And this will actually help you move forward with your fitness journey. Hopefully you find a routine that makes it more easier to fall in love with, because you can't do something that you hate for that long. Nobody can, right? Not even David Goggins. He still gets those endorphins that makes him want to run longer and longer. And he's not always running marathons. He's running, here and there, probably every day he's training, but it's a more sustainable way, right? Instead of doing like big ass marathons or runs that he used to do, like world record level, So yeah, I'll lay it out for you. This is kind of like hard to see, but stop doing these 3 myths if you want to get shredded quicker, if you want to get shredded in a more enjoyable way, if you truly want to push past that plateau and get to this state. As long as these few things are prioritized, I'll list it out. A calorie deficit, strength training, and your protein intake, you will eventually get that physique that you're looking for. If you don't believe me, I use these principles, hitting 10K steps a day, and I documented it all on my Instagram. So you can scroll all the way down to see like where I did that for like 2 weeks, and you'll see the change as well. I lost like 3 pounds in 2 weeks, and I was able to get the leanest I've ever looked. Like, that's probably why my views went crazy, because I actually looked good and people were able to see what exactly I did. And what's the worst that can happen if you try this for a month, right? It's either a month of you being where you're at right now or a month of potentially some significant change. We'll see. Like, comment, share, comment what you thought about it, comment what you think is better, what you're currently doing. Comment if you need help on a certain thing. Like, I want to see all of that so that I can help the best that I can. But man, take some action and lock in so you can get shredded too.